Hi guys, this is Mrs. Homer, and today we're going to look at ATP, or the energy molecule for the cell. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, and if you look at the picture over here, it's going to look oddly familiar because it has the structure of a nucleotide. Notice it has a phosphate group over here. There's actually 3 of them, and that's where the word tri comes from. Tri means 3, triphosphate, 3 phosphates. It has the adenine over here, the nitrogen base. It's always going to be adenine. And then finally, it has the sugar here in the middle. So a sugar, a phosphate, and a nitrogen base, just like the DNA nucleotides. Only in this case, we have 3 phosphates because it's triphosphate. Now, how do we get energy out of that ATP molecule? Well, the ATP is stored here in this high energy bond between the 2nd and 3rd phosphate groups. So in order to get that energy out so the cell can use it, we just have to break off the 3rd phosphate group. So it's kind of fun. You just snap off the 3rd phosphate and you release a lot of energy that the cell can use. But when you break that off, what's left over? Well, breaking off the 3rd phosphate leaves you with 2 phosphate groups, or di. And so we have a molecule that we call ADP, adenosine diphosphate, referring to the fact that there's now only 2 phosphates. Now, this is a very low energy molecule because all of the energy was stored there between the 2nd and the 3rd phosphate groups. Now that we've released the energy, we're basically looking at an empty battery. So imagine your cell phone battery completely uncharged. That's what ADP is. But fortunately, just like your cell phone battery, you can recharge this molecule. So all you need to do is add energy to it. And when you add energy to it, you are adding a phosphate group, and it will turn right back into ATP. Use up the energy, and it'll turn into ADP. And so we have this rather cycle of energy in the cell. We have ATP. We release the energy by breaking a phosphate. We have ADP. We store energy by adding a phosphate. We have ATP. So break off the phosphate, release energy, add a phosphate, and store energy. So this is the energy release cycle in your cell, ATP to ADP. You can watch this quick animation. Oh, it looks like it already went through. So we're going to watch it again. Here's the phosphate group. It's ADP because the 3rd phosphate is not attached. We store energy with a reaction. Now we have that high energy bond, and you have ATP. The last thing we need to talk about is what's wrong with ATP. Well, your body only stores ATP for a short term, so you only have enough ATP to last you for a few seconds. And it doesn't store that much energy. And so your body actually has storage molecules like glucose that will store high amounts of energy, 90 times more than ATP does. And what we'll do is we'll use the energy stored in glucose, break it apart, and use that to refuel ADP into ATP. And so your body craves sugar because it is the energy molecule with which we are going to recharge ADP to create ATP. That's it for today, guys. That's energy for the cell.